Cooper, strange round of football. Lots of upsets. A lot of the sides were on long winning runs. On the end of a loss, mate, the weather.
Yeah.
It's the great equaliser, and it makes you go to your plan B a little bit.
I'm not totally surprised because the competition falls into a lull. Post-Origin, before finals, there's some teams that might be training a little bit harder than usual. There might be some teams that are really trying to fall into the 8 and need to focus. But if you are slightly off in this competition, intensity, commitment, you're talking about the Raiders versus the Dragons. If you're just slightly off, the other team will get you. So I'm not surprised, but those good teams that had some scares on the weekend, if you're a fan of those teams, don't worry. That is it's like riding a bike. They'll get back on the bike at some stage. But it makes it for entertaining, right?
Well, let's talk about the Raiders there for a second, Coops, because I think we've said in previous weeks there were just a couple of little things about the Raiders, which I think oftentimes is a byproduct of a long-winning run. Yeah. When you finally, when you go on these long-winning runs, when the loss finally comes, you sort of look back and go, well, you can actually see where your football started to become a little bit frayed. And I just thought with the Raiders, they've been letting the opposition just play football too much.
Yep. As you said, a couple of halves here, half there, 3 weeks building in, that was coming. And Ricky Stewart would never admit this, but 14 errors against the Dragons. And the one thing that showed me that they weren't dialed in is that Cole Flanagan outkicked Jamal Fogarty.
Yep.
There was a huge wind, and Jamal Fogarty pre-game should have dominated in that part of the contest. And we actually interviewed Ricky prior to the game, and Ricky is normally stoic, he's confident and tells you how his team's going to win. He was nervous. You could see that he was thinking internally, okay, I don't know if we're right up for this. We're probably not where we should be. And it just came out in that performance.
That's funny, Coops, because I actually felt the same about Ricky. I didn't see the pre-game this week. But the week before when they played Newcastle, I thought Ricky looked nervous then. I thought he looked different to any other point through the year. He could obviously see... I think, I'm not going to say it's the loss they needed, but I think it's a loss that'll do them a lot of good.
I would suspect the Dogs, the Raiders, that's a bit of a Kickstarter to say, hey, what we did that week is not what we do from here on out. And I wouldn't be too worried if I was a supporter of those two teams.
I tell you what, well done to the Tigers.
Yeah.
Of all the criticism, they've won 3 of their last 5, but, mate, they were just so up for it emotionally. Before we talk about the Dogs on that, the Adam Dewey situation, Dewey played in the halves, but he wore the 13.
Yep.
And his little stints at 13 in the previous few weeks, my God, it's made a big difference to his football. It's simplified his football. It's found what he's best at. So even yesterday during periods of the game, although he was playing in the halves, for me he was playing like a back rower a little bit.
I think Fainu's got some growing to do. He's got to develop his game. He can have flashes of brilliance, but to say that he's going to dominate the 7 jersey for the Tigers for the next 18 months, he's got to have a lot of work to do on both sides of the ball. But Dewey being an experienced player, he's confident, Dewey. It doesn't matter where he plays. He looks for a way to have an involvement. And he's a bigger body. And I really liked that he had a run-first mentality and opened up a lot of other avenues of his ball playing.
Yep.
He was tremendous. He was outstanding. Couple of try involvements, scored one himself. And then in the second half, the thing that said to me that he should be the halfback going forward for a period of time is 4 tackle kicks in wet conditions up 20-4. That's a halfback mindset.
That's right.
Kick the ball early, force the opposition to do the wrong thing. And Benji's got some challenges, but that almost assures them that they're not going to get the wooden spoon again.
Yeah,
that's a big victory.
Yeah, that's right.
And you think about the Tigers and their wins, they're an emotional team. When they play at Leichhardt, no one can really understand why they win, but they win.
Yeah.
And when they come against Lachlan Galvin, all of a sudden those issues defensively or disconnection in attack,
that's right,
it comes through. So Benji's got a big job to get that team up emotionally to cover some of the cracks they have defensively and attack-wise.
Emotion, that is the ability to get yourself up emotionally for a game is a skill.
Yeah.
To be able to do that. And you said before, when they turn up at Leichhardt and they walk out and warm up and it's a big crowd, they get up emotionally. Yeah. And you just got to find a way to do that. When you're playing an away game somewhere and it's raining and there's 7,000 people in the stands, still find a way to get yourself up.
And credit to them, the spine were good. Dewey ran the football. He was best player on the field. Jerome Luai had some nice touches. Appy Coruscant with that try assist. And Jerome Buller scored a try. Like their spine players were very, very good.
The Bulldogs play a style different to everybody else, and it's a lot of short, sharp passing, a lot of passing in the line. And yesterday that was problematic in the wet. They've struggled this year in the wet weather football. There's no doubt
Dolphins?
going into the big game.
Yeah, they've done it a couple of times, haven't they?
Going into these big games, Cameron's going to have a look at adjusting their style, that all of a sudden you get their grand final day and get up in the morning, it's pissing down raining.
So how would you adjust the style?
I think there's got to be less passing in the line.
Right.
I think just simplify the football a little bit. The week before they simplified and rewarded for it. I'm not going to say that their football this week they tried to play more complex, but it was more complex because of the conditions.
Made it more complex.
That's right. And it gives an opportunity. When the Tigers are up emotionally, and because of the conditions, they know it's harder to move the ball across and more dangerous to pass short in the line. They really rushed them, and I think the Bulldogs just needed to be more patient. I liked early in the game they were doing angle changes and just testing them out, but they got impatient.
When you look at the Tigers' tries in that first half, Dewey ran the ball, broke a tackle, Coruscant kick, run from yardage, and then the loose ball. So they didn't really create, try scoring opportunities through brilliant play. The Dogs, for me, when you're playing wet weather, I think defensively they have the game style to create opportunities. In that second half, Kurt Mann knocked the ball out a couple of times, and they got given the field position. And to score points, I think they went. When Stephen Cronk, I actually like Stephen Cronk playing fullback at the red zone. Like he's a big body, set up there, try for Preston, beautiful work. So they've got a bit of work to do with Connor Tracy not there. But when they're going left-hand side, I think they went too sideways, trying to score on the outside. Mate, Burton, run the ball back inside.
Spot on.
Drop, kick out, Cherry back inside because the Tigers' middle forwards don't have the tank to stay with it for 80 minutes. They just went away from what they should have done and tried to finesse it, and the wet weather allowed the Tigers' defence to shut them down, particularly on that left-hand side.
Coops, I think in wet weather, when you're playing bogs like it was yesterday, I think a good step's better than a good pass. You know what I mean? Angle changes, more of that stuff. The two players who gave the Tigers some problems when they decided to run and use their footwork was Burton a few times and Kurt Mann a couple of times. Just went, showed the ball, took him on with his footwork, just went half through.
Because what you need to do is generate quick play the ball. So the first person might run it for 5 metres, quick play. The next one's 12, next one's 15, and all of a sudden that Tigers defence is retreating. Matt Burton, kick out, running the ball 12 metres off the line, you're going to score a try.
Any yesterday's loss, does it affect your opinion
No.
as far as their
Not a single thing.
credentials?
No,
Okay.
no. I think the Dogs defensively have an opportunity through their line speed and their fitness to really rattle all the good teams. And as I said off the top, like there's a window here that might go on for another week or two that, like, you don't want to drop 3 games, but like you don't create bad habits now. But I wouldn't be too worried if I'm a Raiders fan or a Dogs fan. I think they've got enough confidence from what they've done. All they really need to do is sharpen the sword slightly.
That's right.
But in attack-wise for the Dogs, I would be turn the ball back in underneath, and it's death by 1,000 cuts. It's not trying to score with one player.
Now, Penrith, within a whisker of being the biggest upset over the course of the weekend. Firstly, about the trainer going in front of Jaden Campbell, $50,000 fine, 5-game ban.
But
I feel for him, it's a breach of code of conduct.
So there's no rule as such.
But it's
almost more etiquette, right?
Almost unsportsmanlike.
Yeah, it's more. And I believe Ivan Cleary that trainer did it by accident.
When you see the trainer, he's actually clearly embarrassed.
They're a good club that do all the right things off the field, so I respect that. But I feel like the sanction's more about like what they've done with the water on the ball and all those other things over time.
They've reacted to that.
Yeah, and did it cost them the game? No one's got a crystal ball. But I will say this, he kicks that goal. We're not talking about Nathan Cleary in the 2-pointer. Like his touches when the game was on the line.
Incredible, mate. Incredible. Let's have a look. We did this. We did it last week with Dylan Edwards. Let's have a look at the last 5 minutes from Nathan. And one of the things here, Coops, is this is the set of 6 that leads. So there's a shonky ball there. You don't see him throw many of them.
So down by 2 at this stage.
Yep. Down by 2. Straight away, let him run in the background.
That's just programmed to eliteness. Like he just knew exactly what he was going to do.
And Coops, kicking a field goal off a pass that long, well done to Mitch Kenny too, but you're kicking the field goal from 40 metres out on your heels.
Had to take half a step back to make sure he's behind the 40 and then had to hit it with enough venom to put it over. That is...
And you know, here,
top
Coops,
shelf stuff.
we're watching him here, Coops, like, you know, it's...
The best part about this is touch the ball a lot, control the direction of the set. This one, bit of a lottery, like he's probably not going to kick that one, but tell you what, he had enough juice on it. But what he's doing here is he's controlling everything because he's the decision maker.
Yep.
I don't want other people to touch the ball and send me off to a field position that I don't have control of. So he gets in here, inside Taulagi here, just trying to create yardage so he can get this shot away.
That's it. You just see him handling the ball back to back to back, just taking total control of the game. He comes up here with the field goal here, I thought, had the opportunity.
This is the kick over crossfield, so he's put in a bad position here, so he kicks it across, but he's manipulating the game. He's just taking it to where he wants to do it, and he's trying to get it. The fact here, I think he should have kicked this one.
Yeah,
I think he should have. When he got the ball here, I got game over. He's just topped it. See, he turned it left and he's topped it with his right foot. This one here, classic.
Yep. Okay, we're going to see the top end shot in a second. You're going to point out, by the way, Blaze Taulagi, well done. He's just coming on leaps and bounds.
And they are too good at doing this for it to be a fluke. Like this part here, so this is the last play. Nathan Clear on the right-hand side to play the ball. Normally goes to first receiver, but he's gone 2 passes wide outside Taulagi. Why? Because there's a back rower defending at right centre for the Titans who just come on the field. And what he does, he comes over here, 2 passes wide, which is normally he's inside Taulagi, and he sets up this play by playing nice and square because he knows he's got Casey McLean with speed and footwork, one-on-one with the back rower. And what happens?
Yeah. I know, it gets him.
Like
and you see that half little pause.
I wrapped up Mitch Moses last week for his footy IQ. It's out of this world. That is smart.
It is. To put himself to understand, to go, right, someone's going to have to throw the absolute pass here. So I'm not going to let the young bloke do it. I'm going to push myself into that position. Bring me the ball.
And maybe Taulagi sets him up and maybe he doesn't, because every centimetre counts in that space for McLean to do that thing. And when the game is on the line, he just said, give me the ball, and that's what you want in your great players.
Coops, just on that too, I mean, the first half versus the second half, 24-0 down, and then they came back, they're leading 26-24, the Titans. And there's no doubt there's a drop-off of intensity with Penrith. And also, you know, credit to the Titans elevating themselves and started to get, you know, the smell of a win. But the other thing too is, no Isaiah Yeo in the second half. Came on in the second half and then left early with that shoulder.
When I saw it, I thought it was bad.
So did I.
But he played on for a bit. I'm no doctor, but when he extended like that...
You're not. Honestly,
Phil, maybe for you.
I just got you to check me out.
Dr. Phil, maybe for you on the couch. But when he extended like that, it didn't look good. So, yeah, watch that space on him.
The Dolphins, they were down to 12 men. They get a penalty, opportunity to go for goal. They said, no, we're going to go for it. What would have you done, Cooper, in that position?
I would have kicked the goal.
Yep.
But then I look at the situation or the context is Asako, their main kicker, who would kick it with his left foot from that distance.
Yeah.
He had groin injury. And I saw Katoa have a conversation with him. And when they scored the try, Asako didn't take the goal, Katoa did. So I think Katoa's gone, you know what, he can't do it. And he probably said to himself, actually, I don't think I can kick this. So to be down to 12 players, having to score a try with a minute on the clock, I'm like, what are you thinking?
Well, firstly, shows, number one, a lot of belief.
Yep.
And number two, the ability to operate under pressure, extreme pressure, and get it done.
I think they also got lucky a little bit.
Yeah.
Down to 12, the probability of them scoring, like I like that they just threw the ball around because that's your best opportunity. But there was a moment where we've spoken about him a little bit on this show, your man Halasima.
Yep.
He goes down and like he laid down on the ground. Like here he is here. The game's on the line. Dolphins down to 12 players. He puts in a really good effort here to chase the player across the field and he's down there on the ground.
Got to get up.
Got to get up.
Yep.
Unless you got a broken leg, you got to get up. And just a body in the line might have stopped this. Like there's just a learning for that young kid that, he might have copped a boot. I'm not sure what happened. But he's just got to get in the line. Hey, are you worried about the Warriors then?
Oh, look, it's just the amount of important injuries they've got. I mean, you lose your halfback. Like that's, and it's such a shame. But the injuries at the moment are putting the brakes on their season. Very, very tough. Big blow to the Dolphins, Herbie Farnworth, 4 to 6 weeks. But as you know, with hamstring injuries, when you're a player like Herbie, whose express speed can affect your confidence a little bit. That's 17 minutes. Let's have a look. In the 17 minutes,
he was so good.
I think it was 5 tackle busts, ran for 130 metres and scored a try.
Yeah.
Just exceptional footballer,
Yeah,
and just getting better all the time. And Coop, he just works. The amount of extras he does, no player in the competition works harder than this bloke.
He's physically gifted, that's for sure. He was causing all sorts of issues, as we see here for the highlights, through the Warriors' right edge. And they've done a tremendous job, the Dolphins, like to cover some of those forward injuries at different stages. Even here when Herbie goes down, just to keep fighting and to get through and get that victory. But they can't lose gifted athletes like that. Like, that's their point of difference down that attack. Like, maybe Avarillo's going to move to left centre. I'm not sure who's going to come in, but all of a sudden there's a couple of tackle busts you're not going to get each game. And once you start coming up against better teams in the finals, for them, I think Herbie probably needs to come back for them to be a chance.
I mean, there's a club that's had a hell of a lot of injuries, and they just keep. Well,
they play the Roosters this week, and it's almost a 4-point game.
That's a 4-pointer.
Yeah.
There's a few of these starting to come up.
Manly, Roosters and the Dolphins are going to play each other in quick succession, and we assume the Sharks get 7th because of their run. There's 3 teams vying for 8th spot, and they're all playing each other. And Manly might have just cost themselves a chance by losing to the Roosters. I think Manly play the Dolphins again at some stage soon. So
we said it last week. Manly, there's just too much going on in that club. Hey, Broncos, big win over South, injury ravaged South Sydney. This was a very Broncos game, very Broncos performance. And what I mean by that is, it's just how they like it. There's a bit of distance on the scoreboard between them and their opponents, which allows them just to relax and play football and enjoy their football. The big challenge for the Broncos is to put themselves in a really tight game with the game on the line and continue to play that way and accept the result at the end of it, because that's their football. That's how they should play. Coop, and not to harp back to that grand final again, but sometimes I was watching that, and I've watched them recently in those tight games and how they freeze. It's almost like there's still that little bit of a hangover from that grand final. Yeah. Just that little bit there.
I can give the Broncos a rap. I actually didn't mind the way they went about it. Go back and watch the first 5 or 10 minutes. There's opportunity for Reece Walsh to pull the gun out of the holster and go for the throw or the pass, and the thing that he was doing last week. But he actually put it back. He was quite conservative. They scored 3 tries or something in the first half by not really doing a lot. They just played long game mentality, come out in the second half, and all of a sudden they opened up. So I actually liked the way they went about it. Now it's against the South Sydney, who are decimated with players, but I think you just play what's in front of you.
Exactly.
They did exactly what they should have done. The test will be, can they do it for longer than the opposition with their full health?
And Coop, they look so much better team when they open the field up.
Where
they don't play sort of tight, half-filled football. Well, that's okay when you're trying to work to a point and open the field up, but just with Reece Walsh and Ezra, when they open the field up, my God, it just creates space for them. Just half holes here, there.
I will say this. Wayne Bennett was surprisingly upbeat in the post-match press conference. He just had 60 put on him by the Broncos. And he was joking and playing around. And I thought this is a bit strange. But then I look at who they're playing this week. They're playing the Titans. So this is potentially the wooden spoon game. Des Hasler versus Wayne Bennett. Wayne Bennett's just had 60 put on him, and he's telling his team through that interview that everything's all right. And if you look at the way they played, I'm going to give Lachlan Hubner a huge rap. There was some effort areas in that game that I thought, this kid's got a bright future. Ashton Ward chased down Ricky, I think it was. There was an effort area. Tallis Duncan had some nice touches. He looked powerful when he scored the try. And so what Wayne's doing is he knows that the Titans have more talent. His team is decimated with injury. But these young kids and their energy, if they win, is the reason why they'll win. So don't look at their better players. Look at their youth for energy and excitement to out-enthuse the Titans. And potentially, whoever loses this game out of Des and Wayne, I think they're going to get the spoon.
I just can't see. I just see with Wayne's coaching the ability to just get his players to get things done when they need it. No matter how unlikely it is, I just don't see him getting the spoon. I just think he'll pull something out.
Well, against the Sharks the other week, like it was just desperation in their goal line. They just kept turn up and get it done. Whereas the Titans have a bit of firepower. You know, Foran, Brimson, Campbell, you know, some of their centres can turn on when they want to. So this is going to be an interesting game. Can the South Sydney strangle the Titans, or does the Titans get off the leash?
Geez, for those young South Sydney blokes, how good is it, or how fortunate are they to have Wayne as a coach in this situation? Like, you get a rookie coach, right, with what's going on now, he's going to pieces, and he's putting all the pressure on the young players. I said to, we had Keon Kalamatangi and Tallis Duncan on last night. By the way, geez, mate, what terrific young blokes. But I said to him, I said, how's Wayne? And they said, mate, upbeat, walked in, explained to him and said, you want to hear the good news? We're not have to watch that bullshit ever again. So he's not going to... Obviously, he turned up to train today. He's going, boys, put your boots on. Let's get out. Think about next week.
A bit like Des and the Titans when he got them out of the shower, got that victory for them in New Zealand a week later. Like Wayne, if they win on the weekend, it's that press conference that gets them the win because he just changed the narrative on his team. And energy, enthusiasm is the reason, if they win, they'll get a job done.
Kerb, I'm going to ask you something here. This is a really interesting one about your office. Dr. Cronk.
Client-patient privilege.
Yeah. Mate, Cameron Munster, Jonah Pezzett, Melbourne Storm, this puzzle. Jerome Hughes, of course, he signs on a 4-year deal. So what that does is Jonah Pezzett has the ability now. He can walk. He can go to another club. Cameron Munster's still got a couple of years to run on his contract. However, there's talk that they might ask for an early release to go to Melbourne, to leave Melbourne and go to Perth. Apologies. Work all that out. So it's a puzzle to be solved. If Munster leaves for Perth, Jonah stays, almost certainly. If Munster stays in Melbourne and doesn't get an early release, there's no doubt I think Jonah's going to have to he will go somewhere else. Well, let me ask you firstly, if Munster stays or doesn't get the early release, is it time for Jonah to move on?
Oh, I don't have a crystal ball, but Munster's not going anywhere before that's just my opinion. If I'm Jonah Pezzett, look, work hard, improve your game, stay quiet, and you'll determine your own future. That's my message, because what is now available might change because there's some coaches that may not be at the club or whatever, but ultimately, he's got a period of time with Jerome Hughes out to work hard in the areas he needs to improve, just stay super diligent, stay quiet, and just determine your own future by your performances, not by opportunity or movement, if that made sense. Yeah,
it does. Yeah, it would be interesting, though, if he does, where's the best fit, because most clubs need a halfback or more depth in their halves. And so a couple of years ago, Newcastle made a really good offer for him, and that looks like the perfect fit. I mean, he's a Novocastrian.
Newcastle boy,
He's a Newcastle boy. To go back, he was a junior at the Knights, a perfect fit. However, him staying at Melbourne, they've gone in a different direction. They've got the Dylan Brown situation now and that plan. So they might not be interested. Who knows? They might be. But you've got the Cowboys, possibility. There's numerous clubs. Which one, for me, if I'm looking around, I look and go, right, if I'm Jonah, what club is a good fit for me? I'm sort of thinking Cowboys.
Right.
I think Cowboys would be a really good fit. You're partnering Dearden, and there's a lot of talent in that football side.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
But I mean, the other thing you spoke about for the show is, we're talking clubs here where coaches are under significant pressure.
And things will change. Very provocative to say a team now. I would double down and say, Jonah, you've got 6 weeks to show basically Rugby League World what you've got. Deliver on that, and then you'll determine where you want to go to after that. So a lot of changes between now and then. The coach is a big thing, but ultimately he'll determine where he wants to go through his performances.
The HIA situation, Coop, over the weekend, the Stephen Crichton one, you've had a bit to say on that, and I think people agree with you.
I think the game needs to look at it. So situation on the weekend is Taylor May gets Category 1, can't come back. Stephen Crichton, on report, stays on the field, right? So the game needs to fix that, because you can't just have this keep happening at different stages. So I don't know what the domino effect is, but there's an idea that you could name 18, 19 and 20 players. One's an outside back, one's a half and one's a forward, right? Let's say, for example, Taylor May goes off, he comes off, can't get back onto the game. The Tigers ignite their outside back, but Crichton has to go off at the same time.
Yeah.
Because he's on report,
Yep.
right? So then the Dogs get their outside back on.
Yep, gotcha.
And if Taylor May cannot come back, Stephen Crichton cannot come back. Therefore, you can't move a forward for a half or a half for an outside back. You need to tell who the player is, what position they are, and once that player then is no longer involved, then the domino effect calls off the back of that.
I like it.
Because the example was Lindsay Collins and Nelson.
Yeah.
First kickoff in that prelim final, I think it was.
Yes.
For example, both Lindsay goes off, Nelson goes off. Lindsay's wiped out, he's cat 1, therefore Nelson's done. But the teams don't lose because that extra forward gets nominated to go on and play.
Yeah, the Crichton one on the weekend was hugely unfair.
Yeah.
When Taylor left the field, you're going, well...
In a tight game, what happens if Crichton goes on and takes on an interchange back row who's defending in Taylor May's position, fends him off, flick pass and scores a try to win it?
Yeah.
Like you cannot be handcuffed by the opposition, foul play. Simple as that.
I agree, Coop. Nice one, mate.
Thanks, mate.
We agree on something.